New school year, fresh textbooks, but your mind is still in vacation mode? Whether you're daydreaming about that epic summer vacation or, like me, still recovering from endless days of doing absolutely nothing, well, it's tough to get back into study mode. Or maybe you're watching this in the middle of the semester and you're just fed up with studying. Well, my friends, you are not alone in the struggle. And so, in this video, I'll be sharing some of the things that I do to rekindle my spark for studying. Whether you're in high school, undergrad, grad, or just a curious lad, there's something here for you. The last tip is the most important one, so make sure to stay until the end to know what it is. Let's be real. No matter how curious we are, and no matter how much we understood the importance of studying, there will always come a time when it will feel like a chore. And that's completely normal. The key is to shift our mindset and redefine our goals. Instead of just focusing on passing exams and getting good grades, it's actually best if we also ask ourselves, what part about learning makes it exciting? Maybe it's the big picture, like how this knowledge could impact our future careers or in solving real world problems. Or maybe it's something more personal, like mastering a skill. In my case, as a graduate student in physics, studying would help me become a master of my field. Ideally, this should help me land a job, a good paying job that will help me build the future that I want. That is the big picture that I always envision, or I always think to myself whenever I feel like studying is such a chore or if it's such a headache. Although, let's be real, life is unpredictable, so even after all that knowledge, I might still end up being broke. And hey, some of you may be driven by the goal of making the people around you proud. And there's nothing wrong about that. And in fact, that's actually a really good motivator by itself. However, that is a double-edged sword. Trust me, I've chased academic validation for years, and that is not always the healthiest path. Starting is always the hardest part. Whether it's cracking open a book, sitting down to write the first sentence, or even just deciding to focus, getting the ball rolling takes a serious effort. But here's the thing. Once we push past that initial resistance, momentum starts to build, and that's where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't just forcing ourselves to study for hours, on end every day. It's about creating a consistent routine, even when we're not feeling motivated. It's about showing up for ourselves day after day because we know that each small step is bringing us closer to our goals. For me, it's all about setting manageable, realistic tasks. Instead of overwhelming myself with a massive to-do list, I break things down into smaller bite-sized pieces. Might tell myself, just study for 25 minutes or just read one chapter of this paper. And you know what? Once I do that, and once I start, I usually find it easier to keep going. But discipline is also being kind to ourselves. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Some days we feel the fire burning, like there's this fire within us to just keep on doing things. And some days there are also times wherein showing up is just a victory by itself. What matters most is we keep on moving, even at a snail's pace. Over time, these small acts of discipline add up. And before we know it, studying becomes a habit, a part of our daily routine that feels like less of a chore and more like a natural part of our life. A role model is a tangible example of where hard work and dedication could take us, serving as a constant source of inspiration. Whether it's a professional in a certain field, an online personality, a K-pop idol, or even an anime character, having a role model helps us see what's possible when you stay committed. They don't have to be perfect, but their journey can definitely offer valuable insights. As a YouTuber and a physicist, I find myself inspired by Derek Muller of Veritasium and Diana Cohen, also known as the Physics Girl. Their dedication to making complex science accessible and engaging is something I deeply admire. I aspire to follow in their footsteps, using my platform to communicate scientific concepts in ways that are both captivating and easy to understand. And also, if you've been watching my channel for some time now, you would know that I also really admire the K-pop group 17. I've been following them since their early days of debut, and I saw how perseverance and hard work led them to the spotlight. How about you guys? Who are your role models? Let me know in the comments below. We all have our unique studying styles, but being around people who are equally committed to their academic goals can be incredibly motivating. Even if you prefer studying alone, just being in an environment surrounded by focused, studious individuals can boost your own productivity and enthusiasm. I always consider studying in a library or a quiet cafe where the others are also immersed in their work. The collective energy and focus of those around me can create a sense of camaraderie and purpose. It's like being a part of a study community, even if I'm working on a different subjects or projects. Personally, I'm really grateful for all of my brilliant colleagues and friends. They are not only people whom I can share ideas with, but they're also there to provide support and strength in times of challenges and need. Sharing success and grief with them makes the whole journey worthwhile and meaningful. So if you guys are watching this video, major shout out to you. And if you're not, why not? Why aren't you watching? Why are you not subscribed? Although I didn't tell them about this channel, so I'm the type who loves to daydream and create scenarios in my head. When I find myself drifting off away from studying, I often indulge in imagining myself as the protagonist in a movie like Rory Gilmore or Elle Woods. Sometimes I picture those classic scenes wherein they overcome a struggle, achieve great things, and triumphs at the end. And that's how I romanticize studying, thinking that I am my own main character. So I like to dress up and prepare my space before I study. I even have this ritual of making my own matcha latte before I go to my desk. Sometimes I go to the library or a coffee shop for a different setting, and then I set up the mood by listening to ambient sounds or white noise. Finally, I celebrate small wins by treating myself to good food or by watching my favorite TV show at the end of the day. By romanticizing studying, I turn it into a grand adventure rather than just a mundane task. I envision the satisfaction of acing a tough exam, the excitement of making a breakthrough in research, or the pride of mastering a difficult concept. This mental shift can make studying feel like a heroic journey, adding an element of excitement and purpose to the process. Lastly, and most importantly, is to keep nurturing our curiosity. Falling in love with studying starts with a genuine desire to understand and explore the world around us. When we approach our studies with a sense of wonder and eagerness, learning becomes an adventure rather than a task. I believe that there's still so much for me to learn, and that is one of the driving forces that led me to grad school. I often find myself asking what might seem like trivial questions, but I've learned that these seemingly small inquiries can lead to fascinating discussions. Curiosity transforms studying into a dynamic and engaging experience. It shifts our focus from merely completing assignments to discovering how things work and why they matter. Remember though, curiosity isn't just about seeking answers, it's also embracing the journey of learning itself. By staying curious, we make studying an integral part of our personal growth and a continuous source of joy and inspiration. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope these tips will help you in transforming studying into a grand adventure. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more contents like this. Also, please do share your tips and tricks and how you rekindle the fire for studying down in the comments below. I'd be really happy and glad. I'd be really happy to see your comments. So again, thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next one. Bye bye.